Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Re-Education of Terry. Today, I want to talk about a subject I learned about last year from a social worker in one of my classes. It's called a POD, otherwise known as paid on death. A paid on death, or POD, designation is a financial arrangement that allows an individual to specify beneficiaries who receive the proceeds of certain financial accounts or assets upon the individual's death. These assets can include bank accounts, certificate of deposits or CDs, and brokerage accounts. The primary purpose of a POD designation is to facilitate the transfer of assets directly to the designated beneficiaries without the need for probate. Probate is the legal process through which a deceased person's assets are distributed and debts are settled under court supervision. By designating POD beneficiaries, the assets bypass probate, which can save time and money for both the estate and the beneficiaries. Additionally, a POD designation provides a straightforward method for individuals to ensure that specific assets go to the designated individual or entities after their death. This can be particularly useful for the individuals who want to leave assets to loved ones or charitable organizations without the assets being subject to the terms of a will. Overall, a POD designation serves as a simple and efficient way to transfer certain financial assets to chosen beneficiaries upon the account holder's death while avoiding probate and ensuring that the assets are distributed according to the account holder's wishes. Having a will does not eliminate a POD or pay on death designation. A will and a POD designation serve different purposes in estate planning. A will is a legal document that outlines a person's wishes regarding the distribution of their assets after their death. It typically covers all assets owned by the individual, including those with or without designated beneficiaries. The assets mentioned in a will go through the probate process, where a court oversees the distribution of assets according to the terms of the will. On the other hand, a POD designation is a specific instruction attached to certain financial accounts or assets, designating who will receive those assets upon the account holder's death. These assets bypass probate and are transferred directly to the designated beneficiaries. Therefore, if a person has both a will and a POD designation, the assets covered by the POD designation will pass directly to the designated beneficiaries outside of the probate process, regardless of the instructions in the will. The assets not covered by the POD designation will be distributed according to the terms of the will and will likely go through probate. It is essential for individuals to review and update both their wills and POD designation periodically to ensure that their wishes are accurately reflected and that their estate planning goals are met. Having a trust does not necessarily eliminate a paid on death designation. Trust and a POD designation serve different purposes and can complement each other in estate planning. A trust is a legal entity created to hold and manage assets for the benefit of one or more beneficiaries. The person who creates the trust, the guarantor, transfers assets into the trust and appoints a trustee to manage those assets according to the terms of the trust agreement. Trusts can be revocable or irrevocable, and they can be used for various purposes, including avoiding probate, providing for minor children or individuals with special needs, and minimizing estate taxes. A POD designation, on the other hand, has a specific instruction attached to certain financial accounts or assets, designating who will receive those assets upon the account holder's death. These assets bypass probate and are transferred directly to the designated beneficiaries. In many cases, assets held in a trust do not require a POD designation because the trust itself dictates how those assets will be distributed upon the guarantor's death. However, there may be certain financial accounts or assets that are not included in the trust or for which a POD designation may still be appropriate. Ultimately, whether a person needs a POD designation in addition to a trust depends on their individual circumstances, estate planning goals, and the nature of their assets. It's essential for individuals to work with an estate planning attorney to determine the most appropriate strategies for managing and distributing their assets. Setting up a POD or paid on death designation is a relatively straightforward process. First, determine which assets you want to designate with a POD beneficiary. Common examples are bank accounts, certificate of deposits or CD, and investment accounts. Examine the terms and conditions of your financial accounts. Many institutions provide the option to designate a POD beneficiary. Ensure that your chosen assets are eligible for the designation. Next, reach out to the financial institution where your assets are held. This could be a bank, a credit union, or an investment firm. Contact their customer service or visit a branch to inquire about setting up a POD designation. Obtain the required forms for establishing a POD designation. Financial institutions typically have specific forms for this purpose. You may be able to download them from the institution's website or obtain them in person. Complete the forms by providing the necessary information about your chosen beneficiary. This includes their full legal name, address, date of birth, and sometimes their social security number. Multiple beneficiaries or want to allocate specific percentages or shares of the assets to each beneficiary, make sure to clearly specify this on the forms. Submit the completed and signed forms to your financial institution. This can often be done in person at a branch, through the mail, or electronically, depending on the institution's procedures. After the submission, the financial institution will process your request. Once the POD designation is set up, you should receive confirmation either in writing or electronically. Keep a copy of the completed forms and any confirmation or acknowledgement received from the financial institution for your records. Finally, it is important to know the process may vary slightly depending on the financial institution and the type of assets. Additionally, laws and regulations regarding POD designations can vary, so it's advisable to consult with a legal or financial professional if you have specific questions or concerns about your unique situation. Review the information you've provided for accuracy. Once satisfied, sign the forms in the designated areas. Some institutions may require the signature to be notarized. I hope this information was helpful to you. Remember to check with your financial institution for any more questions or concerns. And also remember to subscribe, like, share, and check the notification box for new content. And as always, thank you so much, and you have a great day. Bye.